talking about the transformer technically itself with respect to the windings and the devices and the performance, etc., etc. So now we're going to talk about shipping and let's see what else we have here. Fit and finish, field service, etc. So this is just some peripheral information about the transformer business itself. So as you can imagine, shipping is a very large part of the finishing the transformer and getting it to the customer on time and safely. So and then the typical transformer weight, let's say a 5 MVA transformer will weigh approximately about maybe 30,000 pounds or so, and then of course a 100 MVA transformer weighs about maybe 300,000 pounds. So shipping is a very large field for us, and we have many people who specialize in that knowledge. And then so these are the trucks. They have single drop 124, double drop 144 inches maximum height that we can put on that truck. Height is the biggest challenge in getting the transformer shipped. Weight itself is not the biggest challenge. The height is, because obviously bridges and tunnels are limiting. So that's what we need to manage. And then but most of the transformers, of course, we make are all manageable. So except for very large one that Georgia transformer can make, very large ones, but normal transformers will go on rail or truck. So the height is limited to 13.6, 162 inches, which we try to keep our smaller transformers below that. And so over 16 are very difficult to ship and generally not allowed. And sometimes it happens when the transformer is a little bit taller than 13.6 or maybe much taller, like maybe 14-15 feet. Then a route has to be developed so they can find bridges which have enough clearance. And then a distance of 500 miles could become 1,500 miles to get there. And then the cost goes up and the travel time goes up as well. So and then of course the width is another element here to travel on the highways. So 144 is the maximum, and of course it takes an escort. So there is a car in the front and a car behind the transformer with lights and etc. So 120,000 pounds with extra axles for weight per axle regulations, and it can go higher than that. They put what we call stringers, and they can put 1, 2, 3 stringers to distribute the weight even more, and up to 200,000 pounds can be transported. A little bit, 80,000 pound is 86,000 pound on the regular rail car, and of course the rail cars then can have extra axles, and then we can put 200, 300, 400,000 pounds on the rail car to carry the transformer. And then so there are various options for that.
Mr. James,
yes.
This is Corey.
Hey, Corey.
Hey, does Virginia Transfer run their own trucks, or do they bring in outside trucking in?
We do not run our trucks. We use common carriers always.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. James, John Belusi, how do we calculate shipping costs into our price quote, or is everything FOB at the factory?
The customer prefers for us to deliver it to their site, so it's very FOB factory is not very common. So the shipping cost calculation, basically distance and weight and size. So we have some charts that can help us to kind of estimate, I would say maybe 2/3 of our transformers shipping costs can be estimated from charts, and then the rest of them we have to quote them for each individual case has to be quoted with our, the carriers that we use. Some are heavy haul, some are normal, and then of course rail, and then a rail transport at the very end where it gets to the rail terminal. Then from there we have to again pick it up and put it on a truck to deliver what we call the last mile. So that becomes, of course, very time consuming to get an estimate for rail transport. So those are all estimated, the large ones are.
Is the PM responsible for the logistics then?
No,
Project
no,
manager?
no. Our shipping department is responsible for getting the quotations from the vendors, from the carriers. So it's done by shipping. And then fit and finish, that's a term that we have used in the last probably about 10 years now to make sure that the transformer, when it is to be shipped, it is fit in the sense that everything is on it and the finish is good. So fit and finish is just to finally check everything and get it ready for shipment. So final check of the complete transformer, does it meet the outline drawing? Verify everything which is the customer expectations. Paint and appearance is excellent. Spare parts are assembled, packed, and marked so the customer knows what part goes where. And of course they're shown on the bill of lading, so the carrier will carry them and deliver them without missing them. And the bushings are typically removed for shipping because the bushing makes the height exceeding the limits. So it's very common that the bushings have to be removed and shipped separate, and so are the arresters because they are both cover-mounted devices, and that does not meet the height requirements allowed. So that's very common. And then one of the things we do before we ship the transformer, we monitor it for leaks for 24 hours with pressure, and then to make sure that there would be no leaks in the field. That's just one of the things we do to make sure that the customer will get a good transformer and not have any issues. So the separate parts and spare parts are all gathered up and then collected according to a separate ship bill of material which is prepared by engineering, and then all those parts are inspected and then packaged and marked. Radiators are particularly fragile because the panels in the radiators are thin metal. They are about 18 gauge, and then they are packaged in wooden crates, and then they are loaded on a truck. So typically a transformer goes by itself and the parts go in a separate truck. That's very, very typical.
Mr. James,
Mm-hmm.
when the transformers ship out of here, the oil field, are they typically filled here before they leave, or are they filled at site during installation? That's
a very good question. So the oil is a very large part of the weight of the transformer. So in a 30,000 pound transformer, the oil would be about 10,000 pounds of oil. So if the larger transformer is typical to ship the oil separate, very, because otherwise the weight just becomes excessive. So it's very common to ship the oil separate, and then we fill it at the site. Sometimes the customer may fill it, sometimes we may need to fill it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Welcome. Field service, Virginia has a full field service crews available, and then at all 3 plants. So we can do supervision only. If customer wants to do their own, as we call, dress out, so they will take all the spare parts, all the separate parts that arrive there and assemble them, or so then we will provide supervision only if that is required or ordered. We prefer to do supervision minimum to make sure we watch and then and observe and make sure that the work in the field is being done correctly. Or we do the dress out ourselves, which is mounting the bushing and the radiators, and then we never connect the transformer to their power on either side, primary or secondary. We do not do that. So we will just deal with our transformer only, and then we will test it to make sure that it has not, nothing has been affected during the transportation, and then we say now it's ready for the customer to connect and then turn it on. So we can do full assembly as well, which requires in many cases, as Dale was asking here, that do we fill oil? Yes, so we can fill the oil and we can process the oil, and we can process oil means you can pass it through filters, you can do drying, you can do a lot of things. So we have what we call oil rigs, which have heater and vacuum and pumps in it, which can be used to actually fill the oil from a tanker into the transformer, and then get it all ready to turn on. And then of course we have test equipment on our rigs as well, so we can do all of those work for the customer.